County Council meeting's now in session. The Honorable William Bump Roddy will give the invocation Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for allowing us to come together once again. We thank you for life, health, and strength. We ask that you continue to watch over as we do your will. Lord, bless this council as we make crucial decisions for York County's future. Lord, bless our servicemen and women. Bless these United States. Bless our firefighters, policemen, and those that serve our community. In these things we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we miss Mr. Williams today. He's in with his family in California, so we gave him a pass. First order of business is oath of office for newly appointed board and commission members. Thank you, sir. When I call your name, if you'd come forward so our county attorney, Mr. Kendry, can swear you in. Ronnie Taylor, Robert Sweet, Michael, is that Buser? John Mattingly, Patricia Mickle, Johnny Walker, Lindsey Walker, Glenda Jones, Dean Holler, John Adams, Bryant Cook.
Some of you may know our procedure here, but after the administration of the oath, council just likes to shake your hands and say, "We're all on behalf of York County, we thank you for your service and couldn't operate without your volunteerism and spirit and cooperation for the county." If you each raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear. That I am duly qualified. According to the Constitution of this state. To exercise the duties of the office. To which I have been appointed. And that I will, to the best of my ability. Discharge the duties thereof. And preserve, protect, and defend. The Constitution of this state. And of the United States. So help me God. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
How are you?
Looks good. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Reserve, sir.
Oh, yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
You've done this before.
Thank you. How are you doing?
Thank y'all.
Thank you, sir.
y'all. Looks good.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for serving.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for serving. Thank you for serving.
Thank y'all for
Good.
serving. Yes, sir. Thank you for serving.
Let's see, we have three people that signed up for appearances. The first one I asked just to come forward, Amy Bowler, there you are. Just to kind of give an explanation on everybody out there wondering where their tax bills are, because I know everybody wants their property tax bill.
We've been wondering the same thing. My name's Amy Boheeler. I'm the auditor for York County. We have had some delays in our process this year for our 2018 real and personal tax bills. However, received information this morning that at 10:47, the bills were in a van going to the post office. So everybody should get them by Wednesday this week.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah. We aim to please, right? Any other questions regarding the
I don't think so. I just wanted the public to know what had happened, because I had so many people asking me, so.
Yes, sir. And we did put something out there today on social media that they were mailed this morning.
We've had a long discussion with the vendor we used, correct?
Yes, we have. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Amy,
Thank
was
you,
there
ma'am.
something different about the way the envelopes looked that I read that on the Facebook page?
That was the mail that was multiple stuffed.
Okay.
That I was trying to let people know. We had some calls this morning from people who got a manila envelope that did not have anything on it saying it came from York County.
Okay.
So trying to let everybody know, if you get a manila envelope in the mail, that might be your tax bill. So be sure and open it.
Thank you, Amy. Next is a presentation regarding York County Day. I don't know who's going to give that. Oh, yes, ma'am. Welcome. Sig, be sure to give her your name and address. would you?
Right, Sig Hewitt, 1520 Pelham Lane, Rock Hill. We appreciate the time tonight, and we're here to talk about York County Day, and I know all of you are familiar with it and probably been multiple years. This will be the 31st year, and York County Day this year, Karen's going to give you the details, but this year it will be at Carowinds. As you know from an event background, the reason it was started was you got signs in Columbia that says 77 North to Charlotte, and the realization that folks did not know where Rock Hill was, did not acknowledge Rock Hill. When I say folks, state government. And so the chambers joined together, and the four chambers, York Regional, York, Clover, and Lake Wylie, 31 years ago, to have York County Day in Columbia, and it was in Columbia for 29 years. The purpose really is to familiarize folks with both our concerns as well as our pluses up here, and for a number of years, we were the only county doing that. Since, after 4 or 5 years, other counties in the state says, gosh, this is a good idea, let's us do it. Let's us do it too. So as other counties started doing it, it really lost its zing and pizzazz, whatever, and fewer people come, as you know. Beaufort County and some others started a few years ago by having the legislators come to their county and encouraging them that way. And Representative Ray Felder encouraged us a couple years ago. She was on our planning committee, as both Karen and I are. And so we built it around the BMX International last summer, as I know you are aware. The BMX gave us the opportunity to talk about, if you can't come to Rock Hill for York County Day, come sometime during the week. And as you know, the governor came. Senator Scott was there on opening night, as well as staff from Senator Graham and other legislators. So we had legislators during the week, and then we had legislators on York County Day. Another point that I would make is legislators receive a couple mailings on this during the months leading up to York County Day, and they also receive a visit. York County citizens go to each of their offices and make personal contact with them, inviting them, giving them a gift ahead of time, so that there are several contacts made to encourage them to get here. And Karen and I were talking, just like to remind you, and as we've reminded our delegation, y'all have statewide contacts. If y'all would encourage them, that would be helpful too. I mean, we try, the combined chambers try, but it's really an opportunity and I was going to say responsibility. If you know some legislators, send them a note and say, hey, we look forward to having you in December at Carowinds. Karen's going.
We did have a good turnout at BMX thing. I mean, the Speaker of the House.
So got the Speaker of the House, and so and the fact that we had some during the week to Britt, and we worked some individual tours or things that they were specifically of interest. A couple of folks were interested in the hospital, got them to the hospital, different things like that. Atrium Health is the overall sponsor along with York County, and I'll say for the chambers certainly appreciate the county's help and financial sponsorship over the years, and we feel like it's worthwhile. And if you've got any ideas on how how to improve or, tweak it in any way, the chambers are certainly open to it. Now, Karen's going to tell you about what's happening next month.
So this year, as he said, it'll be at Winterfest at Carowinds. Starting around between 2:30 and 4, we'll have check-in with some networking. Get to the right thing here. I'm not going to read each and every one of these. Then we'll have some informative video of York County highlights, areas of need, information session on York County. Then we'll travel to a private screening of A Charlie Brown's Christmas at Carowinds Theater. Then around 4:30, the governor will be there, and he will have remarks. Then at around 4:55, we'll have a private showing of the Peanuts Christmas special, and then we'll travel to a tree lighting and kickoff ceremony. At 5:30, Winterfest or the tree lighting will be by the governor, and then it will be open to the public for the additional events. That's it.
Appreciate your support and hopefully get your endorsement, and hopefully y'all can put that on your calendar and be there.
Fantastic presentation.
And
the
currently, we
committee
have
vote.
more legislators signed up than we have last year.
They've got right at 20
At about
signed up and committed.
From how
to go.
far away?
Yep.
They're kind of scattered all over.
Did the
I have them
speaker
listed
sign
by
up?
districts.
Do not yet.
Not yet?
But if you want to encourage them, that'd be great.
Okay,
Thank y'all.
thank you, appreciate it. Next person to speak is Andrew Pack with Woolbert to present an update on the Lake Wiley Recreation Park. Yes, sir.
Good evening,
Name
Mr.
and address. for Karen.
Oh, Andrew Pack. I'm from Charlotte. I'm with Wolpert. Pull this up. Well, that's pulling up, Mr. Chairman and Council. It's my pleasure to be here tonight to give you a brief overview of the Lake Wiley Recreation Park. We've been working on this project since June. We've made a lot of progress, and we'll go through a very brief presentation. This is a progressive design build project, so we're actually working with J.D. Goodrum, who's the general contractor on the project. Wolpert is the architect of record, and we're doing all the engineering and landscape architecture and park planning. I know this is maybe pretty small to read, but you can see that dark line there is actually showing where we are in time on this project. That's today. You can see all the activity before that line occurring all the way back to 2000. I mean, this project and this park has been a lot of planning activities going on, a lot of programming. There's been a lot of need, in this portion of the county for this particular project. You can see we started off with the project kickoff right in June. That's when the team began our due diligence, which started looking at all those old documents, beginning to look at the programming. We've held some open house meetings. We've met with various different committees on this particular project, as well as getting the construction documents moving forward. So we're basically going to be submitting about 50 to 60% documents here in December, which will go into permitting for the buildings come the first of the year. So construction has already started. We've already started doing some clearing, so we've got some early activity going on the project. And as you can see, the bottom line, we're looking at 2020 for the project to be completed. The park is located in the midst of new residential development off of Paddler's Cove, right there at Crowder's Creek. A 50-acre site of the initial phase, or the phase that we're working on, is approximately about 32 acres of that 50-acre site. This is just a quick aerial view looking north of that site, and I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on the site plan. You can see the project has a lot of activity, a lot of active recreation. We're 3 multi-purpose fields located there to the north of the property. We're looking at 3 baseball, softball fields in this location. Then we're also looking at 6 pickleball courts located off of the parking lot here. This is the access road to come into the parking lot. And then you can see all the activity we've basically wrapped around the parking lot. We're gonna have a large playground amenities for the kids and the family, also with some picnic shelters and some walking trails that's gonna go around the site as well within the site. Again, it's very critical to make sure that we design parks within parks. Again, there's both active and passive recreation. Again, there's going to be a lot of use with the community just coming into that facility. We've got a scores tower located here. We've got a community building located here and some shelters buildings located throughout the site. This is just a floor plan looking at the scores tower. Again, it's a 2-level building with 800 square feet for the scores tower portion. We've got a concession, restroom facilities, as well as all the support facilities, mechanical and storage. This is just kind of an isometric look of that particular building. We're looking at metal roofs on that building. You can see the cut through of the building located here. And here's just a rendering of what that building is going to look like. We're kind of looking at the lake marine theme. So those are the colors and the type of materials that's going to match that community out there. And here's just another view of that with the playground in the foreground. The next building is a community amenities building. This building is going to have both an open pavilion area as well as a community room associated with some offices, as well as the associated restroom facilities for that as well. And you'll note on both buildings, we do have the family restroom component with these buildings, as that's something we're seeing a lot with these families today, to have a separate building for that. And here's another isometric view of that building. Again, just a perspective look at coming off the drop-off. And this is the open pavilion in the back as it's looking onto those multi-purpose fields. And that's just a quick overview, update, and open it up for any questions that you may have. I've got the contractor here with us as well, if there's any questions that you guys have.
I've already asked all my questions.
Tom, you want to say anything? I mean, it's through a lot of his efforts that.
We're just excited about the opportunity to have this park in that area, and we still got a ways to go to define, to look at the cost and make sure we come in as close to what we put out there as possible. But thank you, and happy Thanksgiving to all of you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir, Mr.
I
Roddy.
just want to make a quick comment, because I know people are going to start calling once they see this presentation and it gets out that, hey, we want a park, can York County put a park? I just want to, if I'm not mistaken, this is what the citizens of that area voted to tax themselves to be able to do this. York County, we're not in the parks business, so if you're thinking York County's going around building these parks for different communities, we're not. This is something that the community wanted to see happen, and I'm glad to be a part of the voting body that allowed them the opportunity to put it on the referendum to put this in place and put it in motion for them.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Looks real good. Next is public forum session. I believe there's several that may not want to speak, so when I call your name, if you don't want to speak, you can just wave me off or whatever. Ron Parks? And remember, you have up to 2 minutes.
2 minutes is more than I need. I'm here to voice support for the purchase of the land in the new access river. I am coming to you as currently chair of Recreation Park Greenways and Trails. We answer to City of Rock Hill. They do the all outdoors and so forth. River access, as you may have noticed, there's a lot more tubers on the river now. It's become a thing, to the point that some of the people who organize the rentals for kayaks with the city are having trouble getting in and out of the river. So we need more river access, and we need more green space. So I stand in strong support as a representative of that committee. Questions?
We just listen to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next person is Lindsay Walker.
Hi, my name is Lindsay Walker, 1263 Birkland Drive. I'm Chair of the York County Forever Commission. And I've given each of you a summary or a detailed analysis, of what we're proposed as far as York County, but I'll give you what I call an executive summary. York County Forever Commission with Nations Ford Land Trust unanimously support the purchase of the Catawba River assemblage for approximately 1,900 acres of premier property in York County. It has nearly 4 miles of breathtaking river frontage in an area that has little, if any, green space where there's a large percentage of the county population. Its location is 8 miles east of Rock Hill and less than 5 miles from I-77 and the Galleria Mall. York County is in the top 5% of the fastest growing counties in the country. Rapid growth and development are overwhelming the infrastructure in our community. This will be a win-win for all York County citizens that will have lasting benefit for generations to come. Importantly, it will save taxpayer dollars to acquire and preserve the property while at the same time provide benefits for our community. Our vision for the future of York County is for sustained growth with some of the benefits of the Catawba Rivers Assembly acquisition as follows. It will provide public cost reduction. Expansion in the tax base is not always beneficial, as expansion almost always results in increased public service requirements for infrastructure, schools, facilities, and services. It will increase property values. Homes near parks or open space historically enjoy enhanced value with appreciation of 20% or more over those without this amenity. It will increase property tax revenues. Enhanced property values translate to higher property taxes, while at the same time saving taxpayer dollars from the added costs of infrastructure, school, facilities, and services. And it will increase tourism and its many outdoor activities. Other benefits include attracting corporate relocation and wealthy retirees, promote healthy lifestyle, ensure clean water, and provide protection of endangered wildlife and vegetation.
Lindsay, I'll give you 10 more seconds.
Okay, I'll finish it in 5.
Okay.
Each of the above benefits represent an important reason why we need to make every effort to acquire the Catawba River assemblage in order to uplift the quality of life for all York County citizens currently and for generations to come, while at the same time saving taxpayer dollars. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next person's Dennis Merrill. Okay. Next person's Kim. You next time? Okay. Next person is Dean Ham to talk about the 350-foot curb cut issue.
Dean Ham, 411 Cedar Grove Road, Clover, South Carolina.
Thank you, sir.
I have some property up on Legion Road in Smyrna that has limited road frontage, but it's 40 acres that I'd like to someday give to my children. But if this 350-foot road frontage is brought in, I see no way that this can be subdivided or given an equal portion to my children. I'd like the council to take into consideration that this is what individual owners like to do. If this is not done, maybe some large developer can come in and buy my land and someone else's land, and then we have a subdivision, no right to give it to our children or grandchildren. So I'd like you to take this in consideration on this proposal.
Thank you, sir.
Can I ask a question?
No. Next person's Jeffrey Bryant, Sr.
I'm Jeffrey Bryant, Sr.
Yes, sir.
I live at 660 West Old Limestone Road. 3 years ago, I bought a 5-acre tract of property next to mine, and with all intentions of cutting 1 acre out for my son to build his house on. Now, I went to the surveyor as of last week, and it's 350 foot. I cannot understand why, and I called the commission, or planner, and they were telling me that I had to own the land since 2002 in order to get the Grandfather Act. I bought the land 3 years ago with all this intention of letting the son have 1 acre of land to build a house on. Now, I cannot cut it into 2 sections because it's 5 acres. And it's got right at 600 foot of road frontage. And I'm dead set against this. It looks like that we wanting big developers to come in instead of giving it to our kids. I mean, that's what a landowner is supposed to do, is hand it to his children. And I appreciate your time, and I'm wish y'all would consider dropping this. All right, thank you.
Sir. And just for clarification, it's under pending ordinance, even though we haven't approved it yet. At first reading, when it went pending ordinance, it became effective for the planning commission. But one reason I don't like pending ordinance, but it's not, we haven't decided yet, it's the point I'm trying.
Well, can I ask a question? Why is the ordinance already there? I mean, I'm not trying to argue, I'm just saying, why is the ordinance there if it ain't been finalized?
It's that pending ordinance legal thing in the motion.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Next item's consent agenda. Somebody?
Approve consent agenda. Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Next item's public hearing. Council to hold a public hearing and consider second reading of an ordinance to amend the code of the County of York, South Carolina, to dissolve the York County Board of Rural Fire Control, to transfer the rights and responsibility for administering the York County Rural Fire District to York County Council, to establish the Fire Advisory Committee, to otherwise provide for the provision of fire protection services in York County, and to provide for other matters related thereto. Anybody want to speak against this? Anybody against? Anybody for? Yes, sir.
I'm David Jennings. I live at 1918 Cawthorpe Road, Chief of Flint Hill Fire Department and Vice President of the Chiefs Association. And I just want to thank the council for taking into consideration the 4 recommendations that were offered by the Chiefs Association. We think this advisory committee is going to be a lot more effective with less politics and bureaucracy, and giving staff the ability to pick people that staff can work with. The only thing to be considered ought to be what's in the best interest of the fire service of York County. And this was unanimously approved by the Chiefs Association, those recommendations. So appreciate your ordinance taking care of the advisory committee.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else want to speak in favor? We have a motion to close?
Move to close.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Do we have a new motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Discussion? Question on the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Is that a no? Next item of business, Patrick Hamilton to provide a quarterly pennies for progress update. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. Karen, get that pulled up. All right, so it's time for another quarterly update. So let's talk about the upcoming bid schedule we have on Pennies 3, currently US 321 Barrett Connector Road in Clover. The bids actually come in tomorrow afternoon on that, so we are eager to get that project started, as are the people in Clover, I'm sure. Highway 160 West, this runs from basically Zor Road to the state line, extending the 5-lane section that DOT did about a year or 2 ago. That is currently, should go out to bid in December, which would make for a January letting. Also, Gold Hill I-77. So I know this one's been pushed back a couple of times, and the main reasoning for that is DOT's been going back and forth with the consultant on the final plans. Just a reminder, this will be the first diverging diamond in the entire state, so the state wants to make sure everything is T's crossed and I's dotted the way that they want it. So that's pushed it back a little bit, but it does look like we are set here for a March letting on that project. Pennies 4, let's talk about some bids we have coming up for that. The resurfacing group number 3 that DOT's been helping us out with, that will be 19 miles worth. That is scheduled for a January letting, as well as the repaving of Cherry Road from Alumni Drive up to Cherry Park. Also included in that Cherry Road project is the Pennies 3 pedestrian safety project right there in front of Winthrop. Another project that the DOT is working on for us is the US 21 turn lanes. That's down in the Catawba area. I don't really have a firm date on that one, but we are hoping to start construction in 2019 on that project as well. DOT was designing that in-house and will bid it for us sometime later this winter or in the spring. With that said, I want to take just a quick minute to give you some numbers here. For Pennies 4, there was, $50 million worth of resurfacing that was added to the referendum. That was 80.5 miles throughout the county. After these two bids go out in January, 41.5 miles will have been bid in just over a year. So we came to y'all over a year ago and told you we were going to fast track these and get stuff out on the street as quickly as we can. Well, we're doing what we said we were going to do. Out of the 50 million, that's over 26 million of it will be bid out in January. Again, the work's not done, but the work is out on the street under contract. So just wanted to bring you that to your attention and should give a big shout out to the DOT who's helped us with this and made this possible. Also, as a reminder, they started working on the first two resurfacing groups fall of last year before the referendum was even approved. So we value our relationship with the folks down at the district, and they are a big reason for so much of this project's already out on the street.
So with that being bid out within a year, does that mean that instead of the normal 5 to 7 years, it'll be like 2 or 3?
Well, for the resurfacing, that's always much quicker because there's no design, there's no utility. Relocations, you may hit a line during construction, but you don't have to, actually move them. So this started, like I said, last summer really is when we started working with the DOT to get some of these bid packages prepared, which is where we were able to get 2 bid packages out last winter, 2 more out this winter with the numbers that I just mentioned. Moving on to the Pennies 4 design phase. So Highway 21 from Springfield Parkway to 160, that was project 15 out of 16 on Pennies 4. I did mention to you, I guess, fairly recently that we are negotiating scope and fee on this project now. We do hope to come back to you in late January, early February with a contract approval. So that would put 15 of the 16 projects active on Pennies 4. And the only one is Neely Road, which is at the bottom, which we working with the finance department. That one had the asterisk next to it anyway because that was over the recommended budget amount on Pennies 4. So that one will just be pending for several more years until we reevaluate the budget. But basically all other projects will be active in some shape or form.
Patrick, what's the distance on that?
About 3 miles. Projects under construction, Cell River Road, if you've noticed, that's been open to traffic, as well as the Poquonce Railroad crossing is also open to traffic. Highway 97, Councilman Winkler, I know you've been on me about this one. I don't have a date for you right now. A lot of it depends on the weather. It rained almost every day last week. As I mentioned before, they've encountered a lot of bad material out there. They've had to muck out, bring in good material back in. I know they're hoping to get the road fully back open by the end of the year. A lot of it depends on the weather, so I don't have a firm date for you, but when we've talked with the contractor and expressed the urgency to them. So if it's clear weather, we're hoping to get it opened back up.
On a side note, do you know anything on Legion? I know they resurfaced most of that and got that a little bit better, but they were going back to do a finish. Did they ever get it finished?
I'm not aware. I can check with the DOT on
You'll
that.
just keep me up to date on that because I get
Absolutely.
all the-
I'm sure you do. Yes, sir. McConnell's Highway, contractor's still telling us the spring of 2019 completion. They did get the rework done at Meadow Lakes done last weekend. It was closed the previous week, which it rained almost half the week, so we had to extend the detour through the weekend, but they did get it opened up before Monday morning of that week.
That's the one I've been getting a lot of phone calls about.
Me too.
Me too. Highway 274 Pole Branch Road. There is the detour coming up next weekend. This was currently scheduled for last weekend, but a lot of the rain, the contractor didn't feel that it was safe conditions to be able to closing the road and cutting it open, so it is scheduled for next weekend. It's just for the weekend, Friday night through Monday morning. And then there'll be the 6 month detour will be next spring sometime. He has to get further along with the bridge, so that'll be pushed back a little bit further, but we'll be sure to keep you up to date on those. Penny's projects that we are about to start right-of-way acquisition on Highway 160 East. This runs basically from the Fort Mill Parkway over to the Lancaster County line. Final right-of-way plans are being submitted this month. We are hoping that we can get final approval from DOT. They do review all of our plans, so we have to get concurrence from them before we can start the right-of-way acquisition phase. Riverview Road, this is, 160 East is a 3-lane widening as well as Riverview Road. Riverview runs from Celanese over to Eden Terrace. The DOT is currently reviewing those final right-of-way plans on that road. We're crossing our fingers to get approval in December to be able to start the right-of-way acquisition on that project. Highway 72, Part 5 lane, Part 3 lane. This is in the same boat. Plans have been submitted to DOT. They are currently reviewing them with the hopes that they will be approved this time and we can start the right-of-way acquisition phase on that project as well.
How long does that typically take once you submit it? I mean,
It's typically they get comments back to us within 30 days. So we've already submitted right-of-way plans once or twice before, so we're hoping everything's buttoned up this time. And if they are approved, then we'll immediately begin the right-of-way acquisition process, which can take a year to 2 years, depending on a lot of different variables, but a year and a half is probably a good time frame on that. And I believe that was all I had, just a quick overview. If you have any other specific questions to any other projects, I'll be happy to answer those as well.
Patrick? Yes, sir, Mr. Rod.
We talk about how fast we fast-track some of these paving projects. How much did we kind of jumpstart the projects with?
Right.
How much did we put up?
Council loaned $16 million to the Pennies program.
Okay, just kind of want to get that out there. And also, I appreciate your action on getting with the contractors for McConnell's Highway. Right. I know I got several calls, and when me and the chairman met for lunch a couple of weeks back, we reached out to you, and within a matter of a week or so, I think the plans were in motion to get those workers back out there and get the project moved along. It's been kind of drug out for a while, and I certainly understand weather impacts the delays and how projects move along, but for a while there, we weren't seeing any activity. And I think due to some of the calls and reaching out to you and people calling you as well, kind of helped get those workers back out there.
Certainly, yeah. I'm getting calls every week, and we've had multiple conversations with the contractor. And, if the weather can hold up, he's got plans in place to get some work done.
We also got a lecture on curb cuts.
Yeah.
Is that it? Thank you, Patrick.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it. Council to consider second reading of an ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of not exceeding $21 million aggregate principal amount of general obligation bonds of York County, South Carolina, to defray the cost of a project to serve outdoor recreation, ecotourism development, tourism, and other purposes, and to provide for economic development benefits, which project includes the acquisition of approximately 1,900 acres of real property and improvement of any related infrastructure, and the cost of issuance thereof and other matters related thereto. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
second.
Discussion. Yes, sir, Mr. Winkler.
I'll just quickly say what I said on the first reading. Staff's done a great job with this. I appreciate what staff's done. They have put together a good proposal that represents what the majority of council has asked for. So I don't want in any way my vote against this, which I've said I would do all along, to reflect on the effort and the job that staff has done.
Thank you, sir. Mr. No?
We're fine.
Question on the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Next item, council to approve second reading of an ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes agreement to provide for a fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes incentive to get GPT Parcel C Owner LLC, including its affiliated and related entities, the inclusion of certain property in York County, South Carolina, in a multi-county industrial or business park, and other matters related thereto.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Question on the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Next item, council to approve second reading of an ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of a fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes agreement to provide for a fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes incentive to GBT Parcel D Owner LLC, including its affiliated and related entities, the inclusion of certain property in York County, South Carolina, and a multi-county industrial or business park and other matters related thereto.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Question on the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Next item. Council to adopt a resolution to express the intention of York County, South Carolina to cause York County, South Carolina to be reimbursed with the proceeds of tax-exempt obligations for certain costs associated with a project to serve outdoor recreation, ag, ecotourism development, tourism, and other purposes, and to provide economic development benefits, which project includes the acquisition of approximately 1,900 acres of real property, improvement of any related infrastructure, and other matters related thereto.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Question on the motion. Yes, sir, Mr.
My
Winkle.
comments earlier apply to this as well.
Okay. Question on the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Next item, Finance and Operations Committee, Honorable Chairman Michael Johnson.
The Finance Operations met this afternoon. I apologize, I did not bring an agenda from earlier.
You see it? Help me find it. I'm on the spot.
We took applications from the Planning Commission. We approved Carmen Miller from District 1, Jamie Henriksen from District 2, Larry Barnett from District 5, and deferred any action for District 3. We also took applications for the Catawba Regional Workforce Investment Board and approved Amy Falconberry. On our last one, the Leslie Fire Tax District Board, we approved Robert Willis and Gary Morris, both for first terms. We then heard a discussion on the replacement of windows for the McKelvey Center, but took no action.
Thank you, sir. Next item is council member new non-agenda comments. Mr. Roddy.
That would be me, that would be me. Just want to inform Mr. Chairman and council and rest of staff. Several years ago, back in 2012, well, going even back further, starting in 2008, then in 2012, we used to have these events with some of our boards and commissions, our volunteers, and things for the employees. And those were really, really fun events, good events to get outside of the work environment for the employees, outside of the boards and commission environments for people who served in those capacities for us. So I approached the chairman a little over a month ago about looking into what would it take to start some of these events back up for our boards and commissions and our volunteers and those kind of things. We used to go up to Knight Stadium to take in a ball game and have a little picnic area with food and refreshment for volunteers and their families to come out and just relax in a non-working environment, non-decision-making situation. And those were pretty good. You know, morale was being built through those type of events. And since we met a little over a month ago, it came up the idea about, you know, the county having a Christmas party. So I'm excited about that opportunity for us to get together with our employees and people like that. But I did want to update the chairman as well as the rest of the council that I'm trying to work with Winthrop's athletic department to coordinate something where we can do the same thing for our volunteers and boards and commissions to go over to a Winthrop basketball game and support a local institution, as well as have that opportunity to fellowship with people that serve. I see some people that serve on boards and commissions in the audience tonight, and we want to try to get back, just showing those individuals, men and women, that appreciation that they're giving their time and talent and effort to provide a service for us, and we want to use this as a way to say thank you. We haven't finalized anything. I just got some of the numbers on the number of people that participated. Going back to 2008, we had approximately 700 to 800 people that participated in the employee picnic. The boards and commissions, we had says about 100, and then in fire and rescue, when we got with those folks, we had about 600 people. So people really turned out because it's an opportunity to take in, whether it's a ball game that was at Knight Stadium. In this case, we're looking to try to do something over at Winthrop with the basketball program and have some kind of food component with it, you know, not spend a lot of money, but just to say, hey, the services that you're providing for us, we recognize the value of it. And I think a couple years ago when we really looked at the value of what people that volunteer for this county provides for us, it was a huge number, a number that probably would increase our taxes if we had to pay for all the things that people are doing for us on a volunteer basis. So I just want to kind of put that out. It's still in the works, and I'm hoping that we can get something done this basketball season before the end of the season, which is, I think, by the end of February. But if not, we'll get it on tap for the next go-round. Carowinds was another option that came up. But I know locally, if we can get something worked out with Winthrop, you know, those games are real minimal on the cost. We can do something here in our own backyard to kind of really, it's twofold, to support Winthrop as well as show our appreciation for the services that our men and women are giving to the county.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Winkler.
I just had two quick comments. One, wanted to say we swore in the Veterans Advisory Committee earlier today, or this evening, and the Veterans Service was this past Saturday, and Allison was there and I was there. It was a great service. It's a beautiful monument. You drive by downtown all the time. Thank you to the engineering staff for the work they put into it, for management, to the committee, the Veterans Advisory Committee, and also to Leitner Construction for the work they did to help do that and to save us some money on all of it. Leitner put in a lot of work and a lot of effort into that. And nobody's mentioned it tonight, but I would like to say, again, with the pending ordinance doctrine, this was not on the agendas, but it was a couple people mentioned it. The 350 feet is being enforced right now, but staff is recommending a family exception or exemption for those people that are wanting to subdivide and give property to their families on this. So that is something that's really had a lot of people up in arms, and that is, right now, that's not in there, but that is being recommended for when the final reading does come up, so.
Anybody? Ms. Love?
So I'm not exactly sure if this needs to be on the agenda, on the next agenda, or how we go about this, but I would like to request that management and staff present an ordinance transferring the approval and disapproval authority for submitted plans or plats, including sketch plans, preliminary plans, and final plans from the Planning Commission to designated staff as authorized by the Local Government Planning Act.
Can you say that one more time?
Yes. I would like to request.
Oh, okay, that'll work. Did y'all get it? You got it? Okay. Okay, so I think you're back up, Ms. Love. Motion for executive session.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. Whoop, sorry, skipped somebody. Didn't mean to do that. Sorry. We did have somebody sign up for citizen concerns. Richard? Yes, sir.
Richard?
You got it? Just be sure to give your name and address.
Richard Oots with Advanced Imaging Systems. I'm located at 12540 Love Point in Chapin, South Carolina. Thank y'all for letting me address you tonight concerning the issue of outstanding invoices for a project that we completed back in May of this year. I'm not sure if y'all are aware of this project, if y'all have the information in front of you concerning the environmental documents that were asked to be converted to a digital format for y'all to have better access to it, as well as disaster recovery. We were approached back in January of this year about a project that you had environmental files in boxes that consisted of 8.5 by 11 documents, as well as large format documents. There was approximately 225 boxes that were there. They asked us to come in, look at it. Marcia Dell, your records manager, since AIS had been conducting business with York for many years, and actually 20% of our employees live in York County. She asked us to come in, take a look at them. She actually made a site visit, came to our facility, looked at our process and procedures, and then determined that wanted to move forward with us evaluating these documents. She asked for us to provide 3 different scenarios. One scenario was that we take all the documents and scan them all. Regardless of what they were, scan them all, index them, provide them back to you. The other one was there might be some documents in there that you don't actually need to be scanned because it's Medicare retention schedule or you don't need it. And then the third option was for someone at York County to actually go through, we call it purge, or pull out the necessary documents that do not need to be scanned. There was 3 different scenarios ranging from $29,000 to $139,000. Of course, doing the due diligence, the $29,000 route was chosen. And that consisted of somebody at York County actually pulling out the documents. We then said, well, the best thing for us to do, because we don't know exactly how many documents that you have, and York County didn't either, we took measurements and then we conducted pilot boxes. And we conducted the pilot boxes, which is a sample. We take a sample box, run it through our procedures, and that's how we came up with the 3 different price points. However, we don't know exactly the number because it is a sampling. And for example, when we took the sample box, there was approximately, what we determined, 4,275 large documents within the number of documents that y'all wanted us to scan. The rest of it being approximately 89,000 would be the smaller documents. They went through, someone at York County, they purged through or took the ones out. We picked them all up. We started the project. Everything was good. There was a movement to make sure that everything is completed because of the budgetary year, end of the year, being the 2017-18 budget year. There was a PO that was presented for $29,737. As we went through this process, I contacted Andrea Miller and said, the project looks like that it is going to be over the PO amount. And she said, how much? And I said, I really can't tell you because I don't know how many documents we have. Because we are on state contract for document conversion. We charge per document. Everything is via the state contract. So when we give an estimate, it is to what we think that is there. So moving forward, she said, well, do me a favor, get the price to me as quickly as possible, what the overage is going to be. We completed the project. Unfortunately, we were over the $29,000 budget. And what we found out was instead of 4,275 large documents, we had 14,165 large documents. That being said, large documents, per the state contract, there's a cost associated with it, and that made us an overage, and therefore we exceeded the PO by $19,448. And that is, as of right now, neither one of the invoices have been paid, the $29,000 and or the overage.
Is that it?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Any comment?
No, but if you'd like to add it to executive session, be happy to talk to you about it.
Okay, so can you add that to the list? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, now need a motion for executive session.
Chairman Blackwell, I move that we move into executive session to receive legal advice on a contractual matter, consider the association of outside counsel to pursue any and all remedies, including filing suit regarding a concrete asphalt operation in the Brattonsville area. Also, for the receipt of legal advice regarding recently filed litigation by Morningstar. And lastly, to further discuss the maybe outstanding contractual matter on an outstanding invoice to Advanced Systems.
Do we have a second? Second. Discussion? Question on the motion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Be back at 7:05. There is one action item coming out of executive session. Do we have a motion?
I move to associate Brian Autry with Kennison, Dudley, and Crawford for the purpose of representing York County with regards to the concrete asphalt operation and related matters in the Brattonsville area.
Second.
Discussion? Question on the motion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. If there's no further discussion, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.